How I came up with the idea for the No Backboard Basketball League and our ambitious mission. Virginia Commonwealth University paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to its athletes next season, and I have a solution to the three-point problem. All this and more in the No Backboard Basketball Show.
We get back to talking about this community, because I think that's one way, and I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, it may be the tagline you use there. If you change the game, change the community.
I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker. I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker.
Great question. So, the No Backboard Basketball League, the vision of it is a new recreational basketball platform to provide opportunities for Black and brown individuals to actually own wealth creating assets in the sports space. Over 100 athletes have played a version of the no backboard basketball sport that I invented. And what's interesting is many people, when they first see it, think I'm doing netball, and it's not. But I must admit that the idea did come from my experience shooting on the netball hoop and seeing how kids responded from playing on the netball hoop. So here's the story. Years ago, and I'm talking about decades ago, I volunteered at a summer camp at this ministry. This gentleman who had some means, he's a former professional athlete, became a minister. He converted a small industrial park into a church campus, if you would. Had a church, big auditorium, several gyms. Converted all the gyms for volleyball, because he had a daughter who played volleyball. But on each court, he put netball hoops up. So netball hoops are 15 inches in diameter. When they're on a pole, they are just on a pole at the top. He had his posted to the wall, came out about 2 feet from the wall. So he had these 15-inch hoops coming from the wall about 2 feet. I started shooting on these hoops on a regular basis. And then I started organizing the kids in the summer camp to play on these hoops. They never asked, where's the backboard? They were just hooping. And then I would hoop with some young adults from time to time when we had the numbers. The light bulb went off when I started to go out into the Los Angeles area and play pickup ball. So for the next several months, I literally shot the ball like Steph Curry. I mean, I could release it, know it's good the moment it left my fingers, and I had this extra high arc because shooting on a hoop that is 15 inches instead of 18 inches forces an arc. So I would release a three, had this extra crazy arc. I could start walking down the court and that ball would make, and the basket would make. So for a couple of months, man, I was like shooting out of the ball. But here's the rub. If you ask anybody who knows my basketball brand, like me as a college athlete, if I was a brand, I would be more aligned with a Dennis Rodman. I was an undersized big. I dominate the boards, and I shut down the best big on the other team. That's what I was in college. I wasn't a scorer. I probably shot total less than 5 threes my entire college career. So for me to have an experience where I'm shooting the ball at an elite clip, unconsciously making deep threes, I knew there was something there. So that's when I knew there was something there. And what's even more what's even more impressive to me as I've walked out this No Backboard Basketball League vision, and what's again more impressive is my experience has been repeated dozens of times by other athletes. Take a listen to these testimonies.
You have no new messages and one saved message. Saved message Tuesday, 1:51 p.m.
Hey, Mark, this Mo. Give me a call, man. Just to let you know, Dre, who was out on your hoop course this Saturday, had a little tryout with North State. The athletic director was down here. He was draining threes, man. So your remix shooting helps, man. Because, I think he hit 10 in a row at one time. Give me a call, though, man.
So, with that being said, when I first shot on it, with not knowing Mark and I'm just shooting around, I'm like, I promise you, I'm not this bad at basketball. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm shooting and I'm just like, all of these shots feel like they should be going in, and I just don't understand why. So I actually played, I think, maybe 2 sessions before Mark was like, just so you know, the rim is smaller. And the light bulb went off. And I was like, this makes so much sense. Yeah, so and then after a couple of sessions of that, I go back to playing around in doing my normal thing, and I'm just shooting. And I'm like, all right, I know I was pretty good before, but this is just ridiculous. Like, I'm shooting shots that I'm just kind of throwing them up. I'm like, let's just see what happens. And they're all going in, and I'm like, wow. You have to shoot the ball right. You have to, follow your form and practicing on the 16-inch. And then I go back to, like, your regular gym, where you have the backboard, you have a little more crutches and all that. Right. Just your game is it's way different. After that, that's what got me hooked.
Experience is more powerful than an opinion. And it's been my experience and the shared experience of over 100 athletes that makes me confident that the No Backboard Basketball League holds the key to transform basketball development in the United States while creating new economic opportunities for communities historically locked out from owning wealth-creating assets in sports. So by removing the backboard, we're just not changing how the game is played. We're actually redefining basketball skills development. It forces players to focus on shooting technique. It enhances hand-eye coordination. It enhances spatial awareness. And it's a redefining the way we're just actually will develop and train basketball players here in the United States. And I think there's an economic impact as well. Imagine across the country, community leaders owning our U-hoops and running No Backboard Basketball training and recreational leagues. Eventually, those getting converted into No Backboard Basketball training gyms. So now we have a network of No Backboard Basketball training gyms across the country. We have a large community of committed basketball families, trainers, NIL athletes. So this isn't just about a sport. We're really talking about bringing a new business model to sports, a business model that's based on community involvement, community cooperation, and community economics. So it's a new business model for the community. It involves sports, it involves education, and it involves having an economic impact in the communities that we work with. So whether it's through playing, coaching, investing, there's a role for everybody in the No Backboard Basketball League community, and I invite you to join. Go to nobackboard.com. You'll see the spot to join the mailing list. Tap in and put yourself in a position to become part of a community of owners as we build the No Backboard Basketball platform.
Tired of the three-point obsession, the commercialization of youth basketball, and a game where skill development takes a backseat? Introducing No Backboard Basketball, remixing basketball as a catalyst for change. This isn't just a book, it's a movement. Rediscover basketball's roots, where the focus is on community, creativity, and real opportunities for Black and brown youth. No more barriers for families without deep pockets. Get your copy on Amazon now and join the revolution that's changing the game and changing lives.
The professionalization of college sports. Let's talk about that. Have you heard about VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University? Well, the professionalization of college sports just took another step, a significant step in that, with Virginia Commonwealth announcing that the members of the 2025-26 men's basketball team will receive an average, get this, of $384,000 in compensation instead of a traditional scholarship. So this isn't an instead of. So now, where's the money coming from isn't completely clear. We do know that VCU has agreed to do revenue sharing based upon the NCAA versus House ruling, which now says that colleges can take portions of the revenue generated from sponsorship and media and pay college athletes. So with the VCU plays in the Atlantic 10 Conference, which, you know, they have a media deal, but the media deal isn't significant, right? So let's break this down. The way I understand it is Virginia Commonwealth University is going to pay members of their basketball team $384,000. Now, this money is meant to cover what scholarships traditionally paid for, room, board, books, and so on. So now the athletes aren't receiving scholarships. So let's be clear on this. The $384,000 replaces the scholarship. So athletes no longer receive scholarships. They're receiving compensation for the athletic services. And get this. And instead, the university no longer pays the educational expenses directly. The athletes are now responsible for making these payments themselves, right? So let's look at, what does that look like? So attending Virginia Commonwealth University costs between $33,500 and some change for in-state and $56,500 for out-of-state athletes and some change. Right, so even after the athlete receives the $384,000 and pays for all of their college room, board, books, and expenses for that year, they still have about $300,000 in gross income after they pay for their expenses. Now, I'm with it. I wrote an article the other day on my, last year on my Substack covering 100 years of exploitation of Black teenage athletes, right? This has been going on for a long time. So I'm all in for the professionalization of college sports and elite youth sports. But as these opportunities start opening up, athletes and their families need education, and more education, right? The fortunate thing is today, there's significantly more middle-class families leveraging athletics and athletic scholarships as a means to help cover the cost of college. So that should suggest that there are more families entering into the collegiate space than the previous generations that have some financial literacy, and therefore a windfall of $300,000 on that teenage kid with middle-class parents. They should be able to manage that. Yet, I'm of the opinion that they still need education, because there is no guarantee that a family won't fall into the many pitfalls and traps that's being laid for these athletes. As this money moves into the NIL space, you trust and believe the snakes and wanksters are coming over as well, trying to figure out how they can take a child's money and position themselves to benefit off of that athlete's work. Now, get back to this. So, in this story, VCU is paying out compensation. And this doesn't include name, image, and likeness, right? So the $384,000 is outside of NIL. That is direct compensation. So an athlete could go to VCU, get paid the $384,000, and still get additional income from NIL deals, either through a collective that the university athletic department puts together or works with, or from going out and marketing themselves and developing their own branding deals, which athletes can do. Athletes do not have to depend upon the school collective if they're not contracted by the school to be in the collective. So my question is, how many colleges and universities are going to be able to afford to pay out all this money on an ongoing basis? Is it sustainable at all for colleges who are currently fielding athletic departments to move into this professionalization of the space and to be able to year in, year out, decade in, decade out, cover the cost of the athletic department? I don't think so. And I think this new professional model is not sustainable. In fact, I think within the next decade, we're probably going to see about 20%. My guess, my prediction is about 20% of all colleges and universities currently fielding an athletic department aren't going to field athletic departments. I think there will be another percentage that will continue to field athletics, but they're not going to be professional. It's going to be the old college tribe approach. And that's what they're going to sell to kids. Hey, we're going to pay for your education. It's going to go back to that basic premise. And I think with this massive change, it's exciting for the No Backboard Basketball League. I actually think this transformation opened up the opportunities for the No Backboard Basketball League to provide an alternative economic path for 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, right? So our vision is, once we have our network of facilities in the marketplace, we'll be able to create good enough entertainment content that drives enough revenue that we can provide comparable compensation for that tier of athlete, right? Teenage athletes, young adult athletes that have yet have grown to being elite within that band, that we can provide a better experience, better training experience, a better educational experience as far as personal development, business development, strategies, branding, etc., and a comparable economic alternative to what's currently out in the marketplace, and be able to leverage that to build our moat around our brand and continue to impact basketball in the United States. So buckle up, folks. We're in for an interesting ride, and we really don't know how it's going to unfold outside of the No Backboard Basketball League making a positive impact in basketball development in the United States.
So what was like the most surprising thing about today? Something about yourself, or just something about this whole overall experience?
Man, walked in here, and instantly, first thing I noticed, no backboard. It was crazy to me. It was, I don't really know how to explain it. It was just weird to see, really weird to see, The balls also looked weird, but I kind of liked it with the more grooves, so yeah.
What do you think this kind of new format can help players?
I mean, it'll help them with everything, I mean, on a bigger rim, you'll be okay with a little bit of imperfections, but with this, you got to have a lot less imperfections in order to make it. So, yeah.
Dang. Well, it seems like a cool experience. What was the funnest part thing for you?
Funnest part, how quick it was. You make a mistake and then it's just instantly now you're back on defense, or you're going to get that rebound. It's instant. I love that, sir.
No backboard!
Give me that! No backboards, just sky where we aim. Swisher brick, it's all love for the game.
The three-point shot. As you may know, there's a debate in basketball right now, at least in American basketball right now. Is the game too reliant on the three-point? In the NBA, you have teams shooting with the goal to shoot at least half of the shots from the three. I believe the Boston Celtics are committed to shoot at least 50% of their shots from the three-point line. And people are complaining that it's just not beautiful basketball anymore. The game has evolved to layups, free throws, and three-pointers. And if you listen to the last episode, you know that shooting efficiency has not increased. So three-pointers have doubled over the past 20 years from 16 to like 37 a game. And now this season is pushing higher. But three-point efficiency has stayed between 35, 36% the entire time. Shooting more threes, not improving in skill, three-point skill shooting, inherently then increases misses. So inherently in today's game, we're going to see more missed jump shots than we have before because they're shooting more threes, but they're shooting percentage. They're not shooting the ball better from the three, which creates, for some people, an aesthetic that's not pleasing. Our solution to the three-point debate is the introduction of a three-point key. Yes, the No Backboard Basketball League uses a three-point key. So let me give you some context, right? So No Backboard Basketball League, we promote a sport that we call basketball to remix, the modern interpretation of the original game. Remember, the game of basketball was invented without the backboard. First 14 years, it was played without the backboard. The backboard did not become standard equipment to 1904. The game was invented in 1891. In basketball to remix, we have original court, our hoop with no backboard, original court design, and one of the distinct characteristics of our court is the three-point key. The three-point key is 20 feet wide at the baseline. It's a semicircle, and it drops 3 feet in front of the free throw line, so it's wider than the traditional key, yet it's shorter than the traditional key. And any shot taken within the three-point key where both your feet are in the key is worth 3 points. Now remember, we don't have a backboard, and our hoop is 2 inches smaller than the traditional hoop, which is a larger 18 inches instead of the 16 inches we play with, right? So this adds an extra layer to the game and some additional strategy. Now, here's a real good rub here, right? We allow for goaltending within the three-point key, right? So any shot taken both feet in the key goes up can be goaltended, downward arc, etc., right? So this three-point key, smaller hoop, no backboard, goaltending in the key is allowed, creates a completely new dynamic that really brings back the term go hard in the paint, right? We make it far more challenging to score. We have another layer of defense. We encourage a level of physicality that you don't have currently in traditional basketball. And we think that the introduction of the three-point key, particularly in traditional basketball, will provide the balance that would take the reliance off the three, but still allow the three to provide the value and space in the court, but now have some incentive to get guys who could be highly proficient around the basket back in the game, back to the back big, and particularly your athletics. So tell us how you think the No Backboard Basketball League's three-point key could be revolutionary in traditional basketball, or is revolutionary in our own sport. And more importantly, remember, we're building a community to change the game, to change communities, and we invite you to join our community and get in position to be part of a community of owners.
Kaden.
All right. What is your IG or TikTok handle?
My IG is _Kaden8.
All right. What is your experience playing No Backboard Basketball?
My experience, I really haven't had much, but I'm looking forward to it today.
New age basketball game for the new age generation to come. New age basketball game for the new age generation to come. New age basketball game for the new age generation to come. basketball game for the new age generation to come.
A hoop prize and medal ring, king of this domain. Stamina, sweat, and skills, let the record show my name. Sharp shoot, fast breaks, the rhythm never drops. We play with heart and hustle, every second on the clock. Feeling the asphalt underfoot, we make our own.
No backboard.
Give me that.
No backboards, just sky where we aim. Swish a brick is